Welcome back, everyone, to our next webinar. I'm really happy to introduce to you Nora from mimycri. And this time we won't talk about recycling, especially we won't talk about production of old products, which then are best for being recycled. We will talk about the upcycling of waste into new products. And this is a really interesting project that Nora started with a colleague of her. mimycri is helping to give sustainable jobs and turn waste into meaningful designs. But you will hear a lot more about that from herself. Thank you so much for being here. Afterwards, we will have a few minutes to answer your questions. So put them into the questions box as soon as possible, and we will have time to answer them live. Nora, it's your stage. So good to have you. Thank you for being here and have fun.
Thank you, Felix. Hello and welcome everybody from my side as well. My name is Nora and I am one of the two co-founders of mimycri. mimycri is a social startup. Also, sometimes we call ourselves an impact adventure because what we do has been quite an adventure for everybody involved. Over the last 4 to 5 years, roughly, we realized that the world is really hungry for positive news. So we have a lot of horrifying news, and sometimes people want to experience something good. I will share with you the story of mimycri, how we learned to change our perspective, and we really invite you to do so as well. I probably don't have to tell you that per year 400 million tons of plastic is being produced and 40% of it is single use. So what we do is rather low tech, very hands-on and somewhat emotional. I realized that a lot of talks and topics about this conference were about processes to recycle, and I really admired it, but we are doing something very different. It's very low tech and very hands-on. Our story started back in 2015. I think we are all probably very familiar with the pictures or the picture that you see here. Me and my co-founder Vera went to volunteer on the Greek island of Chios. 2015 was the high time of refugee arrivals in Europe, and we felt that we wanted to contribute, that our action can make a difference. So we went there to volunteer because we wanted to be active and not only read the news and talk about it and read about it, but to really get involved on a personal level. This picture was taken one morning in one of the many boat landings that we attended. So the boat landings basically mean that you make sure everybody arrives safe at the shore, and then we continue our work in the camps and working with the authorities to make sure that registration process and all medical issues can be solved. After several months of working there, mostly at the beach and at the shores, we worked in the camps as well. We started a recycling project for dirty and wet clothes, because we had a lot of donations coming in from all over the world, while at the same time people would arrive with dirty and wet clothes and these being thrown away. So we started a small recycling project, but somehow we still felt that our impact is rather limited. So apart from working at the shores and in the camps and food distribution, we also cleaned the beaches a lot. There you can see that all these broken boats really are at the shores, at the beaches, and that you have a lot of basically pollution of these broken rubber boats at the shores. On some of the islands, you even have so-called graveyards of rubber boats, because you have piles and piles of all these plastic waste. but no facilities on the islands to really get rid of it. So what did we do with this feeling of being not impactful enough, or not having an impact in somehow sustainable? Back in Germany, we created an organization. First, maybe a small positive example of how integrative and sustainable business making can look like. So we started a design space where, together with people that have a migration or a refugee background, we transform these broken refugee rubber boats into bags and backpacks. So on the one hand, we upcycle existing material, and on the other side, we really work together with talents that work as designers, as tailors in their home countries, and we also provide products that tell a story, and a story of really like new beginnings in terms of the material, but at the same time of new beginnings of who are the people that made these products. So to sum it up, what do we do, or what did we do? Is we really work with this discarded material. On the very left, you can see one of the piles that, I think this picture was taken in Lesbos, of where all our material come from. And then in a co-creation design process, this is a very different way of designing in the fashion industry. So when we talk to more traditional fashion designers, they can't believe that we do our designs in co-creation processes, because usually it's a single person or a small design team that develops the design. And here it's really a group of people that we invite, because we believe that the design process itself is somewhat inclusive and can bring out great ideas. And the result of the co-creative design process are the products that combine the history of the material, but also the history of the making. So how can this look like? This is a small selection of the products that we do. So we do bigger products like a backpack or shopper, and then smaller products also together with universities, for example, the pencil case, or our hip bag on the bottom to the right is one of the most sold items at the moment. We believe that design is also a way of expressing somehow your values. So we try to be as clean, as minimalistic, and we don't use any extra material, but the absolute necessary, like the belts or the zippers. We try to let the material speak for itself, and to really focus on the most important things that our designs can offer. So after this volunteer experience and this idea that started in my kitchen, where I stored 300 kg of a broken boat material, we have developed into something, and we have developed into a social business that is based in Berlin and Athens. So we started our production in Berlin, and we then moved it back to Athens, where we actually always wanted to have it, because that's where the resources come from, and that's where actually the need for the jobs is way bigger than we have in Berlin. So we increase our impact by moving production back to Athens. We work there together with a local partner, and we do not only have our production and designer team there, but also our partner ANKAA Project offers educational formats. So CV writing, English classes, Greek classes, marketing, and so on, so that the work experience that our tailors and designers gain at mimicry is also accompanied by a broader context, by an educational stream that goes hand in hand with the work. We combine the topics of migration and sustainability in somewhat a unique way. And we actually believe that there's a lot of beauty in it to put things together that may not fit at the very first sight. One of our very core objectives is to create employment opportunities for talents with a refugee background. We believe that including people that have difficulties to access the labor market is a value as such, because that makes our labor force more diverse, and as such also our society in the long run. And we repurpose existing material into high quality designs. You see here one of our projects at the Berlin Fashion Show. I think that was 2019 or spring 20. So for us, I cannot sue, and I'm not a designer, but I believe that, and I do not come from the fashion industry, and I think it's interesting to find myself all of a sudden somehow in the fashion industry. But then I realized that fashion is also a way to express social and societal and important issues of our times. So we are proud and we are happy that our items are being showed on catwalks, because this means that people care about more sustainability and more inclusion, and that it's the product is also a means to an end and not only a consumer good, because the product itself tells a story, raises awareness, and some people like what we do, some people don't like what we do, but we keep talking about it. We talk about why does sustainability matter, why does inclusion matter, and what is it that we can contribute to make it actually happen. So we started slow and very small, but with our story, the feedback we got really exceeded our expectations. So we were featured in hundreds of newspaper articles, videos, and news online. In our small production studio, we reduced 4 tons of waste, and we, most importantly, created jobs for 10 people that have really difficulties to enter the job market. So we started with the broken refugee rubber boat, and because that is the story, and that was the initial idea of what we saw and what we wanted to do. Since 1 or 2 years or 1.5 years, we're moving more or as well to B2B collaborations, because we realized, and also our partner realized, that the material that they have tells the story as well, and that the idea to upcycle and to repurpose it together with us is also a great story to tell their clients and customers. I mean, when we look at the numbers, 90% of Generation Z consumers believe that companies have the responsibility to address environmental and social issues. That means the opportunity to get involved in something where you can have an impact, or where you can communicate, and where you can show to your future or maybe existing customers that you're engaging in social and environmental issues is a given. So we have moved from this single material that we were using, the broken refugee rubber boats, also more towards using other materials. For example, truck tarp, we get requests for old tents, for banners. We have recently produced, I think, for the third or second time for the Munich Security Conference out of their banners, laptop sleeves, and pencil cases. We for private universities, we do pencil cases, or for PayPal, for example, we did something in their CI colors for their employees. And we truly believe in collaboration projects. The more organizations get involved in recycling, repairing, and mostly rethinking waste, the more we will move towards a circular economy. And also, the more consumers ask about it, the more companies will follow that. We are very much aware that our impact is still limited, but I think this should not be a reason to be frustrated. I think the most important thing is to keep engaged, to keep doing what you're doing, to try to inspire others and try to collaborate. So I think a part of what we do to work with, to give jobs to people that have difficulties to access the labor market, to upcycle the material that we have. It's also to really engage into discussions with civil society actors, with politicians, and so on, to understand and to better and to learn how this can actually move forwards whilst driving towards our very big vision. And the vision is that a world in which regenerative and inclusive business making is the norm and not the exception. And I really believe that it's actually possible, and I really believe that this can also be a competitive advantage for the organizations that do so. And what I learned in the last couple of years, that it's not only possible, but that it's also fun, and that you learn a lot about yourself in a professional way, and also about the limits and the joy to work for something that you really believe in can give to you. So I would really like to know what do you think about that vision, and obviously, of course, what do you think in generally? And I usually like to have a feedback in a little bit of a structured way. And I would suggest that we can do a little round of I like, I wish, I give. So what do you like? What would you have wished for? And what is it that you give in terms of advice, in terms of ideas or whatever? And what do you think about that vision? And what do you think about potential collaborations, of course? I am also super interested to hear from you who you are, because I cannot see you, who you are, what you do, or do you include social activities in your business making? And of course, if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you
Nora,
very much.
Thank you so much for this lovely presentation, to give us all these insights into what you do. And for now, I've got a few questions coming in. Maybe you can give me a few answers to those first, and to all the others, please use the question box, use the chat, and put it in there. And
my pleasure.
Can you tell us maybe a little bit about what are the steps to making a bag from the plastic, from the waste, as one would say, that you collect? What is the process of collection? What is the process of upcycling you are actually doing?
Of course. So we work together with NGOs on the Greek islands. So basically, they would collect the material. At the beginning, it was us collecting the material and going there and training basically the people what to ship from Greece to Germany. Somehow an interesting supply chain, I'd say. And then we work together with the professional designers. So our tailors are or were tailors in their home countries, and we also work with, for example, a expert pattern maker and a designer that made bags already, because we really wanted to have it, wanted to have high quality bags. And then we start with paper prototypes. And then we bought some similar material to make some prototypes out of material, because we didn't want to waste our material. And then we would test it. We would wear it. We would show it to, I don't know, 10 to 20 people, gather some feedback from the target group, and come back to our design sessions and iterate the products. And once we have the final designs, we would laser cut some patterns together with our pattern maker, and then the separate pieces of the product are being cut by hand from our production team, because each material has to be looked at, and there might be slight differences in each product. So each product is somewhat unique because each boat is unique. Yes, a lot of boats are gray and black, but sometimes the gray is a little bit shinier than the other one. But I think that gives a little bit of an extra twist to the designs. And also we work, sometimes we have very crazy colors. We have a pink, red, blue, green, and we do not dye or change any color of our material. We work with what we have, and the only thing that we are trying to experiment with is with the accessories. So we use that being a German brand, locally produced. Now our Greek partner found some recyclable accessories like the zippers, but then also you have to always test them and see how long they work and how long they're good, until you then finally say, okay, this product is good to go to the market.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this insight. Now a question coming in, how did you come up with the name? What does mimicry mean? Why is your company called that?
Yes. So mimicry is a phenomenon from nature, and it means, or it describes when animals pretend to do something that they're not. So for example, a spider that pretends to be a little piece of wood, or a butterfly that pretends to be a leaf. And we use this analogy to show that everything is not necessarily what it seems to be at first sight. So waste can be a resource. A design can tell a story. People that are labeled as refugees can be great designers. So that really depends on what you want to see, you can see. And it comes from like to mimic something. So to show something that you might not be, or to resemble something that you might not be.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And yeah, of course, the next question coming in: do you have a shop? Where can one get your bags and accessories?
Yes, so we have an online shop. It's mimycri.com, and that's where usually our B2C customers shop. And when there is a request for more B2B collaboration, because they're more individual and sometimes also more like co-branded, or we like make extra designs for them, then it would be good to get in touch with the general team, and then we can set up a meeting and make a proposal with our production team in Athens. But it's basically mimycri.com, and there you find all the information. And then there's some shops over Germany and Luxembourg that have a selection of products, but the most complete selection you may find online.
Thank you. Perfect. Another question coming in here is about whether it's possible to help your project as an intern from ANKAA. I think maybe it's best to get in touch with you directly via email regarding this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we receive a lot of applications. We shoot us an email, maybe with the area that you're interested in, and maybe also already with an idea of what you think you could contribute, because I think it's always a little bit of a mutual relationship, right? Like, let's learn from one another, and if you have ideas, mimycri is also a place where we can experiment and yeah, make things come true that we think are worth to do so.
Definitely, thank you. And to close it off, maybe can you tell us a little bit about what your plans are for the future? How do you think it's going to go forward? Are there further projects planned? You told us a little bit about it already, that there are further requests from other companies expanding your materials and everything. What do you think are the next steps, and how is that going to impact your project?
Yes, so exactly. We are focusing a bit more on the B2B corporations, because for us it also means that each cooperation project means that you get in touch with actors that can really change something, and to just get involved and talk about and discuss about sustainability issues, and to have a contact into way bigger organizations, I think is a conversation starter that may lead to a more changed way of business making. That's the one thing. So to really do more B2B cooperation, but also do campaigns together, get engaged, and talk more about it. The second thing is that we get a lot of requests also for consulting. So to do co-creation workshops with teams from other organizations, and also to teach a bit more, or to share the knowledge about the upcycling process of certain materials. And that's more international, that we have requests about can you share your knowledge about upcycling, the recycling, the brand building, and so on. And we are obviously super happy about these requests, because, as I said before, we believe the more the merrier. And the overall vision is actually to not exist at some point anymore, because I mean, that might take a little while, but I think if we really move towards a circular economy, we are hopefully not needed anymore, because there is not enough waste, and there is hopefully enough jobs for people that are talented to have a job. So really, the vision is not to exist forever, but to maybe cease to exist at some point.
Thank you. That's really an interesting vision, but yeah, completely true, of course. Thank you so much for your time, Nora, and sharing all of this with us. And I'm going to wish you the best of luck with your project for the future.
Thank you.
And yeah, do you have any last words for our participants here?
Just thanks for coming by. If you want to get to know more, let's stay in touch, and wish you all a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you to you too. And I would love to see you all again in our next session at 10 o'clock, when we will get together for our get-together, and to talk a little bit with each other and please come in. I'm really looking forward to this, and have fun. Have a good day. See you later, and bye-bye.